to pass the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food.
Hello and welcome to the Hutchison House Reacts. I am Leah Marlene, you guessed it, Hutchison. And today we're going to talk about price gouging. Isn't that a fun topic? Kamala Harris has been campaigning a lot on the idea that she's going to stop price gouging. What do you think about that? As a small business owner, I see a lot of problems with this. As somebody who's been closely related with agricultural community and farmers coming from a farming family, I see a lot of problems with this. So let's talk about it. First, let's hear from this grocery store owner, because my first question for Kamala is, who is doing the price gouging? She is not clear on that, even though that's her favorite expression. Let me be clear. I'm like, but you're not clear. You're not clear at all. Who is doing the price gouging? Why don't you just say it? If it's only a few people, it's only a few companies who, need to pay their fair share. And why don't you just call them out at this point? Why not? Who is doing the price gouging? The farmer, the grocery store owner? Who exactly? Let's hear from this grocery store owner and hear what he has to say about Kamala's price gouging idea.
Jason, Kamala Harris says that one way she wants to tackle inflation is to take on grocery store owners. She says that they are price gouging. Are you price gouging?
Absolutely not. And what people have to remember is that, the grocery industry in particular is a very competitive place. I mean, people have so many options. They can shop at the local supermarket. They can shop at the big store. They can go to a club. They can buy online. They can Google pricing. It's at their fingertips, all the information. So it's in my best interest as a supermarket operator that if I can't be the cheapest, I want to be around that price. Otherwise, I'm not going to get any business in my store. So I think.
See, and here's the thing. I used to work in fine dining, and the owner of this amazing restaurant would always say, you get the best ingredients and you prepare them simply. But this restaurant was not cheap, right? We didn't even use words like that. I was the events coordinator and we used, a lesser price point or something like that, right? Because it wasn't a cheap restaurant. It was the best. It was the best food. Well, the food costs of the restaurant, because I was very close with the executive chef as we were planning parties and weddings and all the things, we had to know what the prices of things are, right? And the food costs are very high at a restaurant like that. And that's why they also have to charge the consumer a higher price. But the entire experience is a higher price, because you're getting this experience. You're coming in and having a 3-course meal. You're whining and dining. It's not Burger King. You can have it your way, right? It's like come in, come out, flip and, turn and burn. That's not how it is. It's the executive chef is planning the menu. It's an artistry. It's a performance, if you will. It's a big show. It's a big show, as the owner used to say. It's a big show. And so you're buying into that experience. You can't compare one restaurant to the other restaurant. They're serving different things. They have a different price structure. Not all restaurants can be exactly the same. The food costs of McDonald's versus this fine dining restaurant are very, very different. So the prices have to also be different. It just to have a controlled price, it just doesn't make sense. We're going to get more into it, but let's hear more of what the grocery store owner here has to say.
Any politician to say that they can affect the pricing, I think, is a very naive statement, because it's such a dynamic and complicated process from farming and manufacturing all the way down to when it gets to your grocery shelf. And everyone in that process is trying to buy at the best price because they want their business to be profitable.
Exactly.
Our expenses are increasing at a faster rate than what we can keep our margins at.
That is what all grocery store owners are saying. They make a 1 to 2% margin profit. That is not hardly anything, right? So is it the grocery store gouging? I guess that's what she's saying. But maybe she's thinking it's the farmer. So who is she going to go after? That's what I'd like to know. I really, really would like to know the answer to this. That grocery store owner is exactly right. There are so many things that go into it, all the way down to the farmer. And so that's my question to Kamala. Who's the gouger? Is it the farmer? Because the farmers are, as Nicole Shanahan says, on their knees. They are quite literally praying to the Lord to help them, because the farmers are the bread and butter, quite literally, of the United States. And they are the people who are the most underrepresented, the most made fun of, the most regulated. They are being stolen from in many cases. I come from an agricultural family, a farming family. And so I have had many conversations with people about this. I've also worked with people as a personal development coach, people who are farmers and ranchers who have to give public speeches about this stuff because it makes them very nervous, because a lot of times they're made fun of, and yet they're the people providing the food. So what does the government do to them? Attack them a lot of times. And so they'll even steal their water from them and reroute it. They're trying to take away water rights, property rights. I mean, it's awful. And the farmer is already dealing with too much rain, not enough rain, crops dying, things getting abolished, fires, all sorts of problems. So they have to account for that somewhere. But then when the government comes in and completely regulates them and says you have to do this and that, and then steals from them, steals water from them, steals their rights from them, it makes it even more difficult to produce food. This is a real problem. This is why prices are higher. They're not trying to go, oh, I'm going to go after everybody. These are really good people. The problem is, I'm getting a text message right now. No, the problem is that they're underrepresented, and a lot of people in Kamala's camp are obviously misinformed, or they have the information and they just don't care. So I'm very curious to know who exactly she's talking about. Do you know? Please let me know. Also, the thing is, the cost of living is different in different places, in different regions. So the farmer has to make up for that, right? And it depends what kind of operation you have, how many employees you have. All these different things factor in to prices. And if Kamala understood business and free marketplace at all, and actually true capitalism, she would understand these things. But because she spent her entire life in government and her entire life prosecuting, well, she was a lawyer, so that's not necessarily a government job, but then she's a prosecutor, and then she's in government. So she's always been the person to just attack people. She's never been the person to build something, because if she had, then she would understand further than her 8-year-old knowledge of her daycare nanny or whoever, right? And that is an important business, but I highly doubt Kamala at 8 years old was looking at her books and figuring out marketing strategies and figuring out how to make up for lost expenses and all sorts of things like that, right? Think about the farmers who've lost farmland in North Carolina. Think about the people who are devastated by floods. And I send so much love to anybody who's been devastated by a national disaster, and especially the people right now suffering in North Carolina and Georgia and elsewhere. I send you so much love, and I really do care. This is just such a sad thing. And to recover all of that takes a lot. It takes a lot. Let me know what you think. Okay, let's hear from Kamala herself about this issue, shall we?
I'm a capitalist. I believe in free and fair markets. I believe in consistent and transparent rules of the road to create a stable business environment. And I know the power of American innovation.
Who are the people that you're going to go after? You keep saying you're so transparent. Why not just name them out? So we're all going to just guess who's going to be the people that you're going to attack. Because if you make them stop price gouging or whatever it is that you say, maybe they'll just lay off 100 employees. So who does that really help? Okay, let's hear.
I've been working with entrepreneurs and business owners my whole career, and I believe.
Oh Lord, is she going to talk about her babysitter who owned the daycare center? She's like, I knew about small business owners because of the daycare center lady. Well, that's wonderful, and daycare centers are very important, and that is an important small business. But she always mentions that that's why she knows about businesses, because of the lady who watched her. I'm like, no, you need to understand about business by creating something. But the problem is she's never created anything. What she's done is prosecute people. Okay.
Companies need to play by the rules.
Do the policy proposals match up with those statements?
I don't see how. To me, it just sounds like jargon.
No, when you talk about taxing unrealized capital gains, I think it's the antithesis of capitalism.
Taxing unrealized capital gains. Oh, talk about stripping away the American dream. If you were thinking that you could make more money, we'll go ahead and tax you on that now. Just get it out of the way. Why not? Why not? Thank you all so much, by the way. If you have subscribed and commented, I really appreciate you. And if you haven't, I don't appreciate you at all, because we've got to get this information out. We only have like a few more days, right? Not that long. It's going to go by like this. So the more of us talking about this, the more of us sharing information like this, the better. This is not just for me. This is for you. This is for all of us. So please do share this video, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get in the algorithm and share this very important information. Okay, let's hear what Nicole Shanahan has to say about this.
Guarantee do you have of any power over these issues in the administration? And two, why are you, who's known for being a savvy person, so quick to trust that Donald Trump will deliver on what he says?
Well, so to answer your second question first, look, where we are right now is we have taken a year. Bobby's been running for over a year. We have crossed this nation. We have talked to Americans. We have met people from all ends of the political spectrum, which is what you should be doing if you are running for a representative office. You should be out
100%.
there listening. And our job is to bring that voice to whomever is going to be sincere in their reception to hearing the American public, where they're hurting, what is going on. I mean, farmers are so underrepresented right now. And this is why I brought up some of my criticisms of Kamala Harris's food cap economic policy, right? Or food price capping. Farmers are on their knees in this country right now. They are not price gouging. To say that our farmers are price gouging when they are already on their knees, who can I take that message to today? You tell me, Chris, who's going to listen to me? Because I have taken this message for years to the Democratic Party, and I cannot get through to anybody. It's not like this has happened overnight. I didn't wake up one morning and say, what a great idea it would be to leave the Democratic Party. No, I tried everything in my capability to get through to someone who would listen and hear this actual science, to hear the people on the ground, to listen to American voices. And we've got to judge people by their reactions. We got to judge people by the people around them. And right now, Trump has some really good people around him, and he's willing, he's more than willing to listen. He wants to listen, understand, verify, and then say, all right, who's going to help me get this done? And Bobby has been right up there next to him being like, I will get this done with you.
It would be really great if she would listen and actually talk to the people who she's ready to attack and persecute. You know who did listen? Guess who listened? Let's take a peek. I went and talked to a bunch of farmers in Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago. Did you guys see this? Let me show you just a little clip. These farmers were beautiful. I'll link this video below in the description because I think this is very important to watch. It was an excellent video. I can't share the whole thing because it's like an hour and a half, but this is amazing.
President Trump understood the Chinese Communist Party threat and protected Americans from the CCP's attempts to infiltrate America. It is great to be here with the 45th and our next President of the United States, Donald Trump. China now owns 349,442 acres of agricultural land in the United States. That is up 82% from 3 years prior. America's food supply and the farmland that enables it is critical to.
It's up 82%. Did you hear that? China owns so much farmland in the United States now. It's up 82% from where it was just a few years ago. See, this is the other thing. When you shut down resources, when you shut down all of these ways that people can have electricity, have natural resources, fuel is less expensive, and all of these things, this impacts everything. It costs fuel to run the tractors. It costs energy to run the combines, the irrigation ditches. I mean, just absolutely everything. But now that we're getting a lot of our produce from China, it's just, okay, let's listen to these guys.
National security interest, especially due to China's aggressive ventures into the U.S. food supply. While in the White House, President Trump took on China in many ways that stood up for American farmers. In 2018, he signed a law requiring the federal government.
But Kamala wants to punish American farmers. I mean, the difference is so, the contrast is huge.
To review CCP purchases of land around critical infrastructure, airports, and military bases. That is why we need President Trump back in the White House to pick up right where he left off and go even further. Another one of President Trump's greatest accomplishments was the groundbreaking United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement that replaced NAFTA, improved supply chain resiliency, and put America's farmers first. The USMCA provided new market access for U.S. agricultural products, a fair, non-discriminatory pricing plan, and improved grading standards for products.
Why in the world would you vote for Trump if you are voting for Trump? This is the biggest thing to me, food, because I enjoy having food. And also, by the way, we feed a lot of the world. We used to anyhow. I've talked to a lot of farmers about that. And so shutting down farming actually shuts down the services that we can provide, where we actually are helping people in the United States and even abroad. We were sending food over. I don't know if we do that anymore, but we used to, you know? So like, these are things that people don't think about: food, water, living. Okay, let's see if I can find.
At the time, then Senator Harris voted against President Trump's USMCA trade deal, voting against America's farmers. Harris also opposed President Trump's necessary tariffs against China, and most recently cast the tie-breaking vote for the Biden-Harris scheme that has sold our auto industry out to China. That's what brings us here today, to discuss what Pennsylvania farmers need from the leaders to combat the threat that they see every day from China. President Trump is here with us today to listen to those concerns.
We need to give Americans a chance to own farms and ranches, so they can continue to produce the safest food supply in the world for generations to come. And perhaps a solution could be maybe to offer a retiring farmer or a rancher an incentive tax break if he sold his farm to a farmer or rancher, American farmer or rancher. Also, if I may, I understand that China now owns major meat processing plants. They hold the contracts on production barns, and they even own feed milling plants all in the United States. I believe that it is Americans should control their own destiny when it comes to food production and the future of it. It's a life of hard work and heartbreak, but I know there's some young farmers out there that can carry the load if we can give them the opportunity. I had an uncle who was a lifelong dairy farmer. And when I was a kid back in the 70s, He had a bumper sticker on his GMC Jimmy that read, "No farmers, no future." That was 40 plus years ago. Since then, technology and crop yields have changed for the better, but the message on that bumper sticker has not changed at all. No farmers, no future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
I am a small dairy farmer from Westmoreland County. We currently milk 250 head of Holstein cows twice a day. It is more than a job. It is a lifestyle, as you know. But I would like to talk now about what agriculture means to this country. Currently, it's 30% of the jobs and 7.43 trillion in economic impact to this country. Like you had said, you are pushing through to China for dairy products to be sold there. That is a huge market, and I would see that is a large area that we could expand into and continue to push to try to achieve those goals that you talked about. With that, in 1992, there was 130,000 dairy farms in the United States. That number is now down to 26,000. We are currently losing the small dairy farms, especially in Pennsylvania. Our dairy farm numbers are down 8% from 2022.
And I'll link this in the description. I think it's really important to watch, but I'm just so impressed that Trump sat here and he listened. The farmers, I could do an entire video on farming because there is such a racket that they put on farmers. And it is awful. And we can get into the regulations more because I even coached. I'm a personal development coach. I'm an acting coach as well. So if you need any help with that, I'm happy to help you. I do private sessions on Zoom. So I'm actually doing a 50% off sale right now. If you want, check it out. I'll link it. I'll link it somewhere in the comments or something like that. But I have a private coaching business and I was coaching this veterinarian because she was doing some TV stuff and speaking, and she's a veterinarian for large animals. And she went on and on telling me about this was when Obama was president. And she was saying, hey, if you don't want to pay $10 for eggs in a few years, then, we've got to stop pushing out this propaganda that is shutting down the farmer and these regulations. And one of the things that she mentioned, I don't know if I can even mention it here because she almost got kicked out of school from her thesis on this stuff. But let me know if you're curious about the ag community and what this could do to them and the regulations that I'm talking about. And I'll do a video following up on that, because that's a whole nother topic. We can't get into all that right now. But what do you think? Price gouging, yes or no? Leave a comment and let me know, and I'll see you next time.